The Serving Up Discipleship podcast is to help our audience understand the sacred work of service missionaries and why service missions are spiritually transformative and fulfilling. This podcast is produced under the direction of a senior service missionary couple, social media advisors.
Hello, welcome everyone to, I believe this is the 14th episode of the Serving Up Discipleship podcast. I am one of your hosts, Elder Lewis, and this is my co-host, Elder Price. We are joined today by none other than Sister Vega. Sister Vega, greetings, welcome. We're very excited to be able to talk to and interview you today. So why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself, just kind of who you are, where you're from, and how long you've been serving, and that kind of fun jazz.
Okay, I'm Sister Vega. I'm originally from Jamestown, New York, but I live in Warren and I serve out of Warren. My mission is the Pennsylvania-Pittsburgh mission, and I'm a full-time service missionary. I have been on my mission for about 2 months, so I'm still a newborn.
That's awesome. Yeah. That's wonderful. Well, cool. We're super glad that you're able to hop on with us today. Hopefully we're able to actually give you some questions and get you rolling here. But thank you so much for hopping on. We really appreciate it. So as we ask every missionary that we interview, we want to kind of get to know your schedule a little bit, just kind of a day by day, everything you do weekly. It varies between different missions and places. And so what is your schedule like?
Well, it sort of depends on the service assignment. Sometimes I have a little bit more free time, sometimes I don't. Sometimes I have a little bit more study time, and sometimes I don't. So usually I wake up pretty early in the morning, and I have a quick workout to sort of get my blood pumping and just getting the flow through. Then I have some breakfast as I probably will listen to like a talk while I get ready and things like that. And then I have a set time to study my scriptures. And then, but usually if I have a service assignment in the morning, all of that is cut down a little bit. But the service assignments I'm doing now is later in the afternoon and evening. So I pretty much have all my study time in the morning. And then when I don't have service assignments, that day I usually see if the cross-lighting sister missionaries need me. And we kind of team up and we do lessons and planning with that as well. So yeah, I get a little bit of best of both worlds there.
That's awesome. Yeah. So you're kind of like a hybrid missionary then, right? So you go and teach and do service assignment. That's really cool. Yeah, that's sweet. So what are some of your service assignments that you have there? Do you guys have like a bishop's storehouse, or do you serve the temple, or do you like what are some of the things you do?
Well, in Warren, it's a small town, but there's a place called the Allegheny Community Center here, all ages, from kids to adults, from people with mental disabilities to people recovering from, recovering addicts. And it's a free place you can come to learn about things. And so the class that I help with is a painting class. I go there early, help set up, actually get a chance to participate while the teacher's doing her thing. And then I stay later and I help clean up and things like that. So there's painting and reading and music and cooking classes. And so that's really amazing. And I'm only just at the tip of the iceberg. And then in the fall, I will start at Head Start. It's down the street from that actually, and the little kiddos will come to school, and I will sort of be like a teacher's aide or assistant or things like that. And then starting also in the fall, I'll be helping with the YMCA program. I'm not sure where they're going to put me quite yet, but I do have my PA clearances to help with kiddos, and so I'm not sure if they're going to put me with that or with older adults or anywhere, organizing, things like that. Our closest temple is 3 hours away. So I actually went to the temple 3 times last week in the week. Wow. I went up on Wednesday morning and stayed till Wednesday morning to Thursday night. Came home Saturday and Friday, and then I went back up on Saturday. And let me tell you, it was exhausting, but totally worth it. And up in Palmyra, we have a temple and a bishop's storehouse. And my SML, like it stands for it, is service missionary leader, does want me to be a temple worker and do all that as well. So we have some traveling in the near future.
That's a lot. Oof, good sacrifices. All right. Elder Lewis, how far is your temple again?
2 hours.
2 hours? She's got you beat. I mean, I can't say much.
You have no room to talk,
Mine's-
Mr.
mine's
5 minutes.
15 minutes away, right on the hill. No, the temple's a wonderful place though. No matter where you are, and the sacrifice to get there that's a lot, but it's so worth it. So wonderful. That sounds like an awesome schedule. So thank you for sharing that with us.
Of course, and I forgot to mention that as a service missionary, you can do BYU pathways, and so my classes also start up in the fall.
Nice.
September 11th, right?
Yep.
I start the 3rd semester of that in September as well.
There you go.
All right. So this is kind of a new question that we're going to add to the list of questions we're going to ask missionaries. And this was a question that we had gotten from someone in our email for the podcast, and so we were quite excited to get that. So we're gonna add this as a question. And the question is, what are you glad you did before your mission that helps you on your mission? So what is something that you did to help you prepare for your mission that you're glad you did?
It's a really good question. Due to my medical incapabilities, it was really hard for me to actually start a mission and get the application going, because I had to have all of these clearances, just like saying, hey, she won't die while she's on the mission. And so, I guess honestly, one of my favorite things I did to prepare for my mission was ask other missionaries how their mission were. Funny stories, inspirational stories, scary stories, sad stories, things like that. Where they went, what they learned, just kind of like how you would do for a career. You would ask and talk to some people that was in that career field, and what they want to look out for, what they really enjoy, or what they didn't expect. And so that's sort of what I did as a mission, or before my mission call. And then I guess I would have to also say that going through that process of being able to go on a mission and having that sending back and forth of my application, because I would send it and felt like, okay, like I need this, and I would send it back with that, and like, oh, I need this now. I guess that the patience thing and just really trusting the Lord with that helped. And in the beginning, it wasn't easy, but everything sort of fell into place with it. So
That's awesome. Yeah. And how long did you say you were out on your mission so far?
like 2 months, maybe a little more, maybe a little less. I'm not sure.
Wow.
My official start date was June 23rd. So actually, in 2 days, it'll be 2 months.
Wow, that's amazing. And you're already learning. Oof, doing better than I did. That's wonderful. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah, we really appreciate those insights and things. I really love this question. And I think that's kind of where we're going to put it on, kind of maybe more of a weekly question, not question of the week, but every time we interview somebody, to keep asking that, because it's so important for people that might be looking into doing a service mission or doing a mission in general, to be able to kind of know what some of us have done to prepare and what has really, really helped. So I think it's such an important question. So thank you to whoever put that in there. We really appreciate that. Once again, if you guys ever want to ask a question for question of the week or leave a comment or anything, just go to our email, servingupdiscipleship@gmail.com. So please don't forget that. Okay, so my next question for you. We have a topic here for you today, which is going to be kind of more so on happiness, because happiness plays an important role, not just in life, but especially on the mission. When times are hard and things aren't going the way you want them to, happiness plays a key part in that. So we wanted to ask you today, how has the topic of happiness played an important role in your life as a missionary? It's kind of another tougher one, but
that's okay. I think it's very interesting. going off a little bit, I think it's very interesting in how Heavenly Father helps you with your week, because this whole week I've actually been talking about that topic of happiness. Yesterday I taught a lesson on it, and our recent state conference was amazing, and it was also talking about happiness as well. So I think it's a perfect question. Happiness is definitely wanted in your life, and sort of what you seek and how you can get there day to day. Of course, especially now at times it's very hard, and things can be challenging. But before I answer, I want to just clarify the question. Like, where am I going with this?
You're good. You're good. Yeah. So the question was, how has the topic of happiness? So how has happiness helped you, or how has happiness played a role in your life as a missionary?
Happiness has definitely played a role in my life by Heavenly Father having my back. The first month of my mission was a little bit slower, which is nice for me personally, because I get to sort of make my own schedules and routines, and be able to figure out who I am and who I want to be as a missionary, and work towards my goals and setting those goals, really. The second month of my mission has been a little hard, just because missionary funding and getting everything on schedule, because everyone wants to have team ups or service assignments with Harmony. And I say that because since this is my home ward at church, they call me by my first name. But when we're outside or I'm in a different town, I totally go by Sister Vega. But it's nice that they respect that and things like that. But getting back to topic, even though I have a little worries when I'm trying to give him my worries and to kind of take those steps forward, I have a little bit of worries, and he always lets me know that I don't need to worry too much, because everything sort of has been falling into place for me. Answers to my prayers and just sort of comfort, even though that some things haven't been fixed or been corrected. He still lets me know that it's still in progress and he hasn't forgotten. So my happiness is definitely just being able to depend on the Lord completely.
I love it. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Depending on the Lord is a very important thing, and I think we can all learn from that. So yeah, it's great.
Very important. Yeah. Yes.
Elder Price, is it time? Maybe?
It might be. I think you're right. Sister Vega, don't worry.
Don't worry. It's good. It's probably one of our favorite things that we do on this podcast. We have a little segment we have titled "Question of the Week." We really should have like a banner or something that like goes across the screen.
Question of the week.
Like question of the week.
Well, we met Elder Gibby last week or 2 weeks ago. Was it 2 weeks ago?
It was 2 weeks ago. We had Elder Brassfield last week.
That's right. So Elder Gibby. Just kidding.
Anyways, the question of the week is where we have a question that we might get on a regular basis, or is a commonly asked question, or something that might be confusing to new service missionaries, or people thinking about service missions, or just people who want to know more about service missions. And so today's question of the week is about the name tags, and more specifically, these things right here. More specifically, if there are rules about when and where and how often we are to wear our name tags. Sister.
Sorry, I just wanted to pop in there real quick. Oh, and we're gonna answer this all together too. So don't stress too much about you having to be like, So we'll help you. We'll answer it as well. We all like to. So
question of the week kind of gets the co-hosts, kind of more involved, and that's why we love it so much. So, Sister Vega, if you wanted to take a crack at it first. We'd love to hear your answer.
Well, the first thing that comes to my mind is always listen to the Spirit, really. Whatever activities you're doing at home or away, He will guide you in whether or not you should wear your name tag, and it's also in our missionary handbook. I know personally when I come home, my missionary comes off, my hair comes out, and I put it all on my dresser. But it's actually funny because every time I walk out my door, I go out the back door, I open the gate, I close the gate, and I take like 5 steps, and then all of a sudden I just think name tag, and I look down. Sometimes it's there, sometimes it's not. I don't get past my driveway without my name tag. So I gotta turn around, go all the way back upstairs, unlock everything, and get my name tag. Anyway, and so yeah, if you're at home, I don't wear my name tag. Of course, if you're out translating or having a service missionary assignment, I know I wear mine to any church function. However, as a service missionary, we have the opportunity to spend time with our family. And so whenever we're playing like a video game that doesn't really invite the Spirit, or I would say it's like watching a movie, I also don't wear my name tag then as well. And I also don't wear my name tag when I am working out. But most of the time I work out in my room anyway, so.
There you go. That brings up a whole list of different topics and things, and I think it's really interesting because the name tag is a strange part of the service mission because there's so many different things, and I just always have to laugh because it's different for everywhere that you're at. It seems like at this point, right? And Sister Vega, have you guys integrated? You guys haven't done integration yet, have you?
No, I have. Yeah.
Okay, you are integrated.
The Pennsylvania-Pittsburgh mission is integrated with the Cross-Lighting Missionary.
Wow. Okay, that's awesome. Well, here in Cedar, we also integrated. Elder Lewis, as you can clearly tell, has not. You'll get there one day. Don't worry.
January.
Yeah. So yeah, I just have to laugh because they have the missionary standards, which I've got right here, and I actually have a spot in here that I'm going to read a little bit. But these change so much that like this can barely keep up with the rules and stuff that are up and changing.
I thought they were getting rid of it.
I think they are. But for
Yeah.
now, this is kind of like, I don't know what you hold on to for a little bit. So, but I just want to read real quick in here. Unless Elder Lewis, do you want to go first? Or do you want me to read this?
You go ahead and read that, and I can give my 2 cents on it later.
Perfect. I don't know what that means, but all right. All right. So yeah. Oh, there you go. Yeah. So in this one section, it talks about wearing the missionary badge. And I was reading this earlier and I just really enjoyed it. It says, it is an honor and a privilege to wear the missionary badge, and just period right there. It's an honor and a privilege to wear the missionary badge. And I think that's so true. I mean, you put it over your heart. It's so meaningful to wear the missionary badge. And so I liked how Sister Vega kind of went into detail of if, you listen to the Spirit. If it's inviting the Spirit, you wear it. If it's not, be more wary with it. Listen to what the Spirit's telling you. Should you wear it or should you not? It's a privilege and it's an honor to wear this. So make sure that what you're doing is in line with what this holds. And of course, you brought this up too. Always wear it while you're traveling to or from your missionary assignment, at your missionary assignment, and at church meetings. And so that's kind of just an overview of everything. And I know we've kind of been directed here in Cedar from our service mission leaders to always wear it at all times. There's certain circumstances where you don't wear it, but anytime you're out, anytime you're always wearing it. So I think that's good points, and I brought all that. So I'm going to turn the time over to Elder Lewis now to hear his 2 cents, because that's going to be interesting.
So I served the first year of my mission as a teaching missionary, as a cross-lighting missionary, and so I always wore my name tag, even if I was in what they call P-Day clothes, which is not a shirt and tie, just regular clothes, or if I was in cross-lighting clothes or whatever. And so I just kind of got used to the action of putting on a name tag. Just every morning, I just get up, I get ready for the day, and then name tag. It goes on. And so I've gotten to the point in my mission where I wake up, I get ready for the day, name tag. And I'll walk out my room with my name tag on. And I remember I went on vacation with my family a couple months back, and we went to Texas. And I talked about some else and was like, hey, should I still wear my name tag or should I leave it at home? And they kind of said it was up to me. So I was like, well, I'm still a missionary, so I wore my name tag the entire vacation. We would go out and we would be in New Orleans or in parts of Texas, and I'm just wearing my name tag because I'm still out and I'm still and about. And it kind of presents an opportunity for people to ask questions if they want to. And I actually did have a couple people ask me about it, like, "Hey, what's that you're wearing there?" I'm like, "Oh, this is name tag. I'm a missionary for my church, and I'm just on vacation with my family right now." And so they were kind of intrigued by that. Um, but yeah, I mean, to boil it all down to just a simple thing is just wear it in all places and all times as the Spirit directs.
Yeah.
And so honestly, sometimes I forget I'm wearing it. So my parents will sit down to watch a movie, and I'll sit down with them, and I'll just still be wearing my name tag because it's so much a part of me now. It's so much part of who I am as a disciple of Christ at this point in my life that I just forget. I know this kind of sounds bad, but I forget that it's there because it's just who I am. So, but it's different for every service missionary. So I don't know.
I would also like to add, that's the whole reason why we have question of the week, because apparently me and Elder Lewis, we do the same thing. We just wear it everywhere on vacation, and we get those questions all the time. So we've just decided to put them on a podcast. So that way we can just send you the podcast. That's awesome though. It's so true. So I love it.
Yeah.
Well,
Definitely.
hopefully that answers the question of the week. I think we did pretty good.
Yeah.
Now I want to turn this back to Sister Vega real quick. So we got another question for you, and it is, how have you grown in happiness through your service as a missionary?
Have I grown in happiness?
Yep.
Or how has your happiness grown
Yeah.
through your service?
It hasn't. No.
Don't clip that. Don't clip it. Elder Gibby, don't. It's the wrong spot.
Oh, I'm just kidding. The reason why I say it is because missionary work is hard.
Yeah.
It is 40, if you're a full-time missionary, it is 40 plus hours a week, cross-lighting or service. And there are some challenges, and Satan definitely throws some rocks at you along the way. And so happiness for me is when I get to have some time to dive into my scriptures, like set time. I have at least an hour every day to dive in, or I have an hour or two to work on myself. When I was younger, I never had the chance to know who I was or what I liked or what I didn't like. I always worked and went to school, and I sort of grew up too fast. And so this mission, Heavenly Father knew was going to be perfect for me, because I've always asked, what do I like? Who am I? Why am I here? What's my purpose? What are my skills other than working in school? And I have had so much time to myself to study my languages, because I'm multilingual. I've had time to read the scriptures and draw and paint, and miserably fail at painting, but cook and know that I'm actually a good cook. And so it brings me happiness to know that Heavenly Father has a plan specifically for each and every one of us, and no two people are the same. We might have some similarities, but He knows us, and He wants us to be happy with our lives and who we are and in our own bodies, because they are temples. And so I guess just talking to Him and drawing nearer to Heavenly Father and Jesus Christ and strengthening my connection definitely is the top tier of bringing me happiness. But I do want to say a close second. As I said earlier, I'm multilingual, and one of my fluent languages I speak is American Sign Language, and I get to use it on my mission. And the reason why I wanted to go into the career of linguistics and interpreting for other people is because it is so great to see their faces light up when they know that you know their native language, and they can understand you and we can understand them. And it is just a wonderful euphoric feeling. And yeah, I really enjoy being with people and getting a chance to be with myself.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I think that there's a lot that goes into happiness, especially on a mission, especially with forgetting yourself and serving others and being able to figure out that sort of scenario as well. I think it's so important. That's what missions are all about, right? You have some people that have a really, really hard time in life in general, or whatever the case may be, when they go out on a mission, and it's really hard. There's a lot of problems, like you were saying, 40 plus hours a week. You got Satan, who hates everything that you're trying to do because you're trying to do good. And so he's, of course, going to be there trying to throw stones and get you off the path. And so he's on you. And you got people that don't want to listen to your message, or people that don't like the service you're doing, or whatever. But then if you boil it all down, there's a raw piece of just love and compassion and Christ-like attributes. And that right there is just pure joy and happiness. And you wouldn't want to give it for anything else. So
Yeah,
I love it.
Definitely. You mentioned that missions are hard, both proselyting and service missions, and I definitely agree with you. Having served both, they both have their own trials and difficulties. That being said, and I know that you've only been out for 2 months, but a lot can happen in 2 months. What has been thus far the hardest thing that you've had as a service missionary, and how did you overcome it?
I'm tied between two. Even before my mission, as I was going to the temple for the first time for myself to be endowed, Satan legit took my cart to the side of the hill, to the mountain. We were on our way from in between Warren and Bradford. We were going to go up Bradford to Palmyra, the 3 hours. My dad was driving. I was in the passenger seat because I get motion sickness pretty easily. And my grandma and my mom were in the back, and we hit black ice. And our car spun 3 times and slammed. The first time it slammed in the front, second time it spun, it slammed in the back and totaled our van. And we were stuck in Bradford, but thankfully my grandpa came and got us with his truck. And my grandpa, he is a very spiritual guy, and he's kind of by the book, and he's so smart. And I've never ever heard him talk like this, but he opened that cafe door wide. He marched over our table, slammed his hands down, and he said, "All right, I know this is what happened, and I know that this is awful, and Satan doesn't want you to do this, but we can do one of 2 things. I can take you home right now and give you all the love and support you need. We can reschedule it sometime later this week. Or I can drive you to the temple myself right now." He stuck his hand like this. He didn't do it, but he stuck his hand like this, and he goes, "And we'll give Satan the middle finger and go and show him who's boss." And I was like, unfortunately, we were going to be too late, and we didn't have enough. They didn't have any more appointments later that day. But anyway. So my first answer is definitely dealing with the adversary. Getting to know me and my talents and my skills, and having a wonderfully strong connection with Heavenly Father through the Spirit. I know that I'm powerful, and I can say this without being selfish. I'm a powerful spiritual missionary, and my dad and I call it missionary superpowers. Every time I walk out that door, my missionary superpowers radiate out of my skin, and I feel it. I feel a difference. And so he has definitely been really hitting hard and throwing really hard punches. But I can say that I've only cried like once a week. I cry. I'm a crier. I'm a crier. I go to my dad. He knows as soon as I walk in and I sit on my couch and I start bawling my eyes out. He knows. that I just need to cry. And to my family, I'm so grateful that I get to be on a service mission, because what they do is they come and they give me a sandwich hug, squeeze it all out, and anyway, so it's definitely a good healthy cry, but I would say my biggest problem is the adversary.
Yeah.
But my second answer is being an integrated service missionary with a cross-setting missionary. Missionary budgets are a little weird, and I have a good set budget. I just am having a hard time getting my missionary funding. When I say my mom and dad, I mean a family that has emotionally adopted me, and then after my mission, we're actually going to be adopted and sealed in temple. I don't have family support financially, so I have had a couple of families in my ward who so graciously offered to help. However, it's been hard because service missionaries don't get that set in stone card like cross-sighting missionaries do, and so I'm quite literally broke. And I think I have a couple of dollars in my name, and I could buy those. Although I am broke, Heavenly Father has also sent people my way. Just yesterday, I was wearing my shoes, my only shoes, to church, and someone saw that they were sort of wearing on the bottom, and they gave our group leader $40 to, and said to have Harmony buy, or Sister Vega, Harmony, in the family where they call me both, to buy new shoes. And so, although I don't have money, I get just a little here and there to help me along the way until I get a set in stone income, missionary income.
That's incredible. Miracles, right? That's
Yeah.
That's a lot. I love it.
Definitely.
Well, once again, we just want to say thank you so much for hopping on. We have a few minutes left on the time that we have available, but we wanted to ask you one last question. We just wanted to ask for your testimony of service missions.
I am so grateful to be a missionary, and I've only been on a mission for 2 months, but I know that my testimony has grown tremendously. And from the start, from the day that I walked up to the missionaries, I asked to go to church with them. I asked to be baptized. I knew that Heavenly Father looks out for me. I know that everything happens for a reason and nothing's coincidental. I call those little coincidences little miracles, because he knew that it was going to happen, and he planned for the right things to happen. And so when I was emancipated at age 14, didn't have biological parents' help. I was getting bullied from my family, and I didn't know really where my life was going to go, to where the missionaries invited me to church. And 6 years later, I haven't stopped going since. And I would just like to bear my testimony that Heavenly Father loves us, each and every one of us individually, even though sometimes it's pretty hard to know that he does, especially when you're afraid of his love because of not getting love from people who you think we're supposed to love you the most. And I know that it has taken me a long time to realize I can be loved. And now I know for a surety that he does love me. And I get little reminders every day, especially in my scriptures. And so I would just like to bear my testimony that he loves us. He has our back. He shields us. He gives us so many opportunities, so many chances, so many blessings when we follow covenant path, when we ask for him and we reach for him. And when we make mistakes, we repent and change. And they can just be happy and endure to the end. And I say the same thing in Jesus Christ.
Amen.
Amen. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us today and for sharing your testimony with us. It's one of my favorite parts too.
Mhm.
I'm glad I didn't cry. I thought I was gonna cry.
You did great. You did wonderful. That was amazing.
Well, unfortunately, we are out of time. I wish we could do this all day long, but we have a limited amount of time. So until next time,
Till
go
next time.
forth and stir up some discipleship.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you for taking the time to see or hear this podcast. Your hosts were Elder Lewis and Elder Price. Your editor is me, Elder Gibby. If you want to see clips from the show or other service mission related content, please look for the Hands of the Lord Facebook page. Thanks again for thinking of us, and we'll see you next time.